Good day everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing the impressions, well, spaded impressions on the 7518 M41 Semovente. Excuse me there. Now, you will obviously have seen the second battle in this thing, not the first. As I mentioned in the first one, there was a guy who managed to penetrate right here, which is 100mm thick, if you don't take into account angling. And he penetrated me with 69mm of penetration, which is a load of shit in my opinion. But the armor is actually pretty strong in a down tier, not in an up tier. That I will say right now. Well, now. So let's go over the vehicle. So the Semovente is obviously, well, this Semovente is based off the M1441 chassis. There are a couple of key differences between the chassis, which I will point out in a moment. So let's look at the front of the vehicle. So the front plate is 50mm thick. It's basically flat. Flat as a witch's tip, as I said in the first battle. But the lower glacis is 30. This is your main weak point right here, because right behind that is your gearbox. And if that gets taken out, you're screwed pretty much. The machine gun up here seems to be center line. It is not. It is actually, I think it's about 20 degrees off your gun's arc. So shooting the machine gun can be a pain. But as you saw in the first battle, I actually get an air kill with the machine gun. Fair enough, the S81 crashed, but I'll take it. So today's battle is on Cyanite in a down tier. I didn't get many of these, just to point out. This tank is horrible in an up tier. Just to point out, the mobility isn't very good when stock. It's not the best when upgraded, but it did the job. So the 75mm comes with a 44mm pen APHE round, well, APCBC. If it penetrates the tank that it's shooting at, well, goodbye tank. But the key word there was if it penetrates. Now, personally, if I was you, I would go parts, FPE, go for the Granata Perforante, maybe even adjustment of fire. I went adjustment of fire first, then went straight for the heat shell. But I recommend getting this. This APCBC shell, whilst not very powerful, can make the difference between penetrating a target with an APCBC shell and one-shotting it and not doing so. The heat round is quite effective, but it could be better. That's all I'm saying. You also get access to a HE shell, which I don't recommend you use, and you also get smoke. I've never fired smoke at this thing. I never saw the need, so do with it as you will. Now, obviously, as we all know about Italian machine guns, they only carry 5 bullets, pretty much. Same story with this machine gun. At least you get decent gun depression compared to the 4732 L40, which you will meet in a down tier. Their gun will struggle at most ranges to penetrate the casemate, but they will easily cut through the lower glacis. Just bear that in mind. You have a similar rate of fire, but you have a lower muzzle velocity. But obviously this ball mount, if I could put it that way, for the 70 or the 75mm, is actually pretty thick in spots. You can get upwards to 150mm thick, which is pretty damn tough. But it's when we get to the side, it's exactly the same as the M1441, 25mm thick. If anything gets you side and shoots you, you're basically dead. Since this is a casemate tank destroy, if your engine is destroyed or your gearbox is destroyed, you might as well be dead in a majority of situations. Overall, playing it wasn't too bad. It's just, the gun wasn't punchy enough in some areas, but the down tier match, which I'm going to show you, this gun was definitely punchy enough, and I had the stock shell. Just to point out, people, I had the stock shell. I was grinding the adjustment of fire module at this time. Obviously now the vehicle's spaded, but I need to leave the squad a moment because I was spading this tank with Dark Angel. He only participated in a couple of battles with the Semovente, and It does okay, but it certainly isn't the best tank destroyer. I'd rather take a Stug 3A. Because the Stug 3A has double the reload rate, better mobility, arguably better reverse speed, and in some spots, equivalent armor. And even on the sides and rear, better armor. But that's just my opinion. So at this point in time, obviously I have the stock shell. If we take a look at it, it's not very effective against most tanks. Just 44mm of penetration, you really are going to struggle to take out most tanks that you will see. But overall, if this shell penetrates the target, it is not surviving. Simple fact. This has more HE filler than an IS-2. But anyway, I'm going to skip ahead to the actions, shall we say, because driving this thing, when the engine is stock, is so damn slow, even the tank that the chassis is based off is faster than it. Now I start to move into position. I was more concerned about the left flank. I spotted this L640 and I attempt to do what I like to call blind firing. Well, no scoping more like. And I know that's an old Call of Duty phase, but this L640 did take some shots to range. This gun is very low velocity. Eventually I get bored and just decide to push up because I have the armor to take his hits. If that was a bit more to the left, he would have been a dead man. That shot hit the additional armor on the lower glacis and did absolutely nothing. At this point, I fired a couple of shells at him and decided to move up. Now don't get me wrong people, this isn't a bad tank in a down tier. It's actually quite a good tank destroyer because of its armor. But in an up tier, God help you. I range, single shot, he was never going to survive that. First kill. Now as you can see a lot of 20mm fire from auto cannons. There was a lot of AS-42s, L640s and AB-41s in this game. The machine gun isn't actually powerful enough to shoot down tank traps. And here's where I'm going to make another point. You can see here that the 75mm is actually pointing slightly to the left. But the machine gun is pointed far more to the left. The machine gun has a traverse of about 60 degrees. Left and right. Upwards it's about 20 degrees, but just take that into account, your machine gun is not aligned on target. It's better to show it in a more practical sense than it is a actual sense. Now I spot this M1441 here. Obviously my lower glacis armor is actually weaker than the upper glacis armor. At this point the enemies have A, and I was waiting for teammates to catch me up because a lone Semovente is most likely a dead Semovente. One thing's for sure though, most of these Italian tank destroyers do look pretty good on paper. And for the majority part, they are. They have decent guns. I thought that guy there was dead. He's not. Well, he is, sorry. Why did I say he's not? This L640, I range him perfectly. Pretty much. A little bit higher jump, and you'll have him. And one away. Smacked him right in the side. APCBC shell, 270 grams. That's the end of him. AB41. Don't know why he was driving it up the field like that, mate, but the shell doesn't even need to go off to kill you. Third kill. Now there is a weak spot in this tank's upper armour. Where the optics port is, just to the right of the machine gun, there's no armour there. A plane can easily get in there, a tank can easily fire machine guns in there if it has the elevation over the Semovente. Just take that into account. If for some reason your gunner dies and you get hit by machine gun fire from a plane, you now know why. I believe it's commonplace on most Semoventes. So now we're in the cap circle, we're just capping the A point. I was really worried about my rear because, as you can see here, there are no actual tanks covering the rear road. So at this point, after I've checked over everywhere, I'm going to turn around and start driving down that road. There is actually a 7518 camping over here. He does pretty much nothing the whole game. But now I'm going to skip ahead because all I do is turn around and start driving down the road. Yes, this is 8 times and this is how long it took to get over there. The M1441 chassis when stock is not helpful, especially when you have a very thickly armoured casemate. So here is an AS-42 coming up to assist me. My shell almost hit that guy, but the AS-42 shredded him. The ammo rack's at AB-41. I was thankful to have this guy here. Saw him in binos, couldn't get out in time. Here comes a M1340 Series 1. I tried to find a machine gun there to mark him, but obviously I can't. That shot was low. If they fix the... I take a smack there, it hits the upper casemate and does absolutely nothing. This is what I mean about this tank being good in terms of a down tier. The armor is very strong in places. Don't get overconfident about your armor, otherwise the enemy team will kill you. Unfortunately, my AS-42 friend has just died to a piece of artillery, but I smacked the L640 that was lining a shot on him. And here you can see the casemate, obviously because I'm hull down. That guy was lucky to survive that shot, but don't worry, he won't survive much longer. The Semovente is actually pretty well armoured in a down tier, as I've mentioned. The M1340s cannot penetrate at range, whilst you can penetrate the M1340s. However, only up to a certain distance, and what I would recommend is about 500 meters, which is roughly what I'm engaging here. And here comes Frostlord in his L333 tankette. And I have no idea what he was planning here. That's all I'm saying. You can see him firing over there. He's actually trying to be an AA piece, I don't know why. He's trying to shoot down the S81. I spot this M1542 and I thought, I've got no hope of penetrating this guy. I'll have a crack at him anyway. And I hit the one spot where I can penetrate. The MG port. Instantly killed him. That's my 6th kill. And here comes Frostlord, who's going to be my final kill of the game. Now you can see that L333 is completely covered in bushes. Now the L333 can actually penetrate your lower glacis, but all you can hear right now, I don't know how that didn't penetrate him, but you could just hear the dong, dong, like a church bell. And well, the shell actually exploded inside that small crew compartment. I feel sorry for the crew members. 7th and final kill for the match. And that's pretty much the end of the match. Not much else happens. There's only a CR32 up at the moment and a 4732 L40, which can give you lower glaciers a run for your money, but other than that, it ain't got much hope against this thing. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else happens. So what do I think of this tank? Well, in a down tier, as you saw here, and you can see on the front casemate, it's actually pretty tough, and the gun works just fine. But in an up tier, people, do not use this tank in an up tier without the heat shell. That is all I'm saying. The heat shell will guarantee you at least some hope, but even then, I wouldn't bother bringing this thing into an up tier. The armor is flat as a witch's tit, which pretty much everything can penetrate, and in an Italian Civil War situation, you're going to do well. But if there's an Italian Semovente on the enemy team, or an M1542 who's got a brain, you're dead. But it's not the world's worst tank destroyer. That honor goes to the 4732 L40, which Napoleon 1461 is currently driving. This isn't the worst tank destroyer I've ever driven in my life, but it's certainly up there, especially in an up tier. But when you penetrate with this shell, it's very satisfying to either watch a Stuart blow into little pieces or to watch L640 players just rage as they struggle to penetrate you. Anywho, I'll let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review. Please, Gaijin, fix the machine gun. Then this thing might actually have some decent defense against freaking AA trucks and hopefully against aircraft. And I'll catch you all in the next one, which will most likely be the 7532 M41, which will be next spaded. Anyway, I'll let you guys off. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will catch you all on the next one.